us. Hi, I am Tripti.
Yep.
Hi, I am Lu.
We met each other last year, and since then we've fallen in love and we live together now, and next year we're getting married.
Wow. We are platonic friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Cami and I'm from Argentina.
How do you guys identify?
Well, I'm very unsure still. I mean, I would say bi, but I would also say pan. I don't know. It's a very thin line, I feel, between those.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I don't. There's loads of definitions for bi, so I just say that I'm pan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I don't want to like disqualify anyone.
It's
because I'm
easier.
attracted to everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm straight as a pole.
I think I'm more bisexual.
I identify as queer.
Have you guys ever heard of the Camden Lesbian Center and Black Lesbian Group, like before I told you about it?
I haven't, no.
No, I haven't either.
I haven't.
No.
What kinds of spaces do you guys feel the most comfortable in? Do you feel like there's a difference when you're hanging out with a group of people you guys know are queer versus like just being with a bunch of like straight people, or?
Definitely. In terms of like being open with that, like sexuality, I think it's very specific to who you're hanging out with in terms of, you agree with that.
I feel like my friend groups all are kind of mixed. And yeah, I feel like also because I'm quite new to it, I haven't really experienced many queer spaces.
I get that feeling around some friends, like I love them, but I don't know, if I'm hanging around a lot of straight friends, sometimes it becomes a little bit like I'm the novelty.
Yeah.
Like I'm the novelty one.
I think my sexuality is not the main part of me. Like, I can be in a group with straight people, I can be in a group with non-straight people. We are not going to talk about the sexuality all the time. Like, you know.
I know it's not them coming from a bad place, but it can be a little bit like grating. But sometimes I get the same thing hanging around like loads of gay friends. It becomes very much about, we talk about sexuality, we talk about being gay, which is lovely. But yeah, it's the same. Like I feel most comfortable around you guys. Sexuality doesn't really need to come into it. But yeah.
It's just very normal conversation. Like, I don't feel unsafe with this group or that group. Essentially we're all human beings. It's just that I find it more comfortable talking to queer people about my relationship problems because they understand. But also, I find like straight people, like, you know, Tripti, she understands my relationship problems because it's all the same.
Being with people that you know are part of the community or allies definitely is a lot more comforting than not knowing, because it's true, like you might think you know someone and then, you know, you hear them make a homophobic comment or something like that and you're like, oh shit, you know, like maybe I'm not safe here.
But I will go very selective talking about my relationship with straight people, like a few close friends that I trust. Yeah. But it's the
I
same.
think it's a very good question to ask someone who's sort of an introvert. Because Lou here is an extrovert. She
I'm
gets along with-
introvert, okay? How many times do I need to tell you I'm INFP? INFP.
What's your guys' definition of a safe space?
I don't know, just at home, like in my own space.
Because I feel like I can always count on my room, for example, being a safe space. But with people, you don't always feel that. That's usually with people who just know my sexuality and are okay with it.
It's less performative, like I don't feel like I have to be anyone else. Like today, Stanley walked into the bathroom as I was preparing to have a bath.
Yeah.
And she saw that I had a laptop in there and chocolate and my vape.
I was like sitting and pissing and I was like, oh shit, there's chocolate.
She saw my bath preparation.
Yeah.
Just generally like people. I think it's people for me, like I'm with certain people. That's the safety. I think like items as well can be like a safe space. Like everyone has like an emotional attachment sweater.
You're able to talk whatever you want. You are able to share the things that you're concerned about and your worries. And also your embarrassment. I think that's a very important thing. You are willing to be embarrassed in front of that person. Be vulnerable. Be vulnerable in front of that person. It's
Not
a
just
safe
that, I
space.
think a safe space is also a place where it's okay if the person in front of you, just for your sake, to make you a better person, calls you out.
Yeah.
And you accept that.
Should straight people be allowed in queer spaces?
going from the safety aspect, I mean, I've been to quite a few like of the popular gay spaces in London, like Heaven and like the gay bars and the gay clubs and stuff, like Heaven and GAY and all that. And there's like this Sunday night thing that I used to go to. It's like a kink event, so like it's any sexuality. But recently they came out and said we're not going to be doing the next few weeks because we found out one of our managers has been accused of some quite serious crimes. It changed it a little bit because like I'd met that guy and he'd never done anything to me, but it did make it like, oh, maybe I wasn't in as safe a space as I thought, and maybe a fully safe space in queer communities doesn't exist. That felt like such a safe space, and then you realise actually just because it feels safe to me doesn't mean it was safe for everyone involved.
Honestly, I don't like it when it's always just LGBTQ people exclusive.
Yeah.
Because I feel there's no point. In the end, it's only just
You're creating
LGBTQ people.
barriers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where is the straight people? You know, I think it's good to have LGBTQ people invite their straight friends, or like maybe their parents, or like elder generations coming in to have a conversation about it. You know, like someone trustworthy, not just anyone. Because I'm pretty sure there will be a lot of like straight people trying to come in, like
Yeah.
you know,
And you
make a
never know.
scene.
You cannot background check all these straight people,
Yeah.
like what their beliefs are.
Mm.
So it would be like putting everyone in danger.
Yeah, true. Putting everyone in danger.
Of course, do I think it would be nice to have some spaces that are just queer? 100%. But in terms of like the actual community, I think the community is about acceptance, and there's definitely straight people out there who are allies and who do fight for the equal rights of queer people.
I want that sort of involvement. It sort of exposes you to what queer people go through. I don't mind doing that. I don't mind going through that experience with them. If it helps them or if it's an eye-opener for me. I don't know everything. I would like to learn. So that exclusivity sort of keeps us at bay.
You shouldn't say no to a heterosexual person coming in because, you know, allies and all that, but then there is still the worry of horrible violence, and like even less than that, like there's a worry about just having someone in your space that doesn't agree with or understand or fetishizes like that part of your community in a space that's meant to be just for community.
The whole point is to unite the communities, right? And you can't really do that if a community that's supposed to be accepting is also excluding some people.
People masquerade that they still have very backwards and quite revolting beliefs, actually. Even people my age. Honestly, I actually hear more progressive stances from people that are older sometimes, I think. I have a lot of friends that are quite old, like 70s, and that people kind of will use the language of trying to pretend that they're someone to support you, but what they're actually being is incredibly patronizing, and think, and they kind of reveal in the way that they speak, like, oh, you're someone second class, like you're not a normal person, you're something else. And in that context, normal is like the good thing. And it's like for example, I always hear like straight people try and tell me, oh, it's good that you queers have your spaces, or like, oh, you know, you need to feel representation, it's so important that you have that. I've had straight people like tell this to me, like, oh, it's so important that you have this, that you have your little trinkets, that you have your little stuff that makes you feel like a human being. And it's just like, or like, it was a like straight guy who had to go and get props, and he had to get like sex toys. I remember he said the sentence like, what do I know about this stuff, I'm just some straight white guy. And it's like, oh yeah, because perversion is the topic of black queer people. Like, you know, it's like, you're the pureness, you're the real, you know.
So there was this day I was at the supermarket with my girlfriend, and we were just queuing, and then naturally we just like kiss each other on the cheek. And then the guy in front of us, this old guy, I'm pretty sure he's like 60 or 70 already. And he looked at us, he's like, I'm very proud of you guys. You know, it's not easy to express love nowadays. It's not easy, and he's a stranger, you know. And then we are like, oh, thank you, that's so sweet. Like, I didn't expect someone from that generation, it's like my grandpa generation, to kind of like support. Because obviously, you can see that we're two girls and we're like kissing. So it's not friends, you know. But then he's like, so proud of you for
so you're wrong, it's a friendly kiss.
Yeah, and like, you know, it's just that very heartwarming moments, even till when I got back home And I was just thinking about that. It's just very
encouraging.
yeah, because not many people from that generation will accept your
I think it's a
love.
very good reaffirmation.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my god, thank you. Then-
Sometimes when you're doing the right thing but everyone else feels it's wrong, even one person saying that makes you feel so
it
good,
makes you feel so good.
reaffirms your beliefs.
Why do you guys think some people prefer the term queer over the more specific label?
I think I'm bi or I'm pan, but I have in the past thought that I'm a lesbian, and I have in the past thought actually no, I'm just straight.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know what I am, and maybe that's going to change in the future. Maybe I'm going to be something else in the future. And I think it's natural for things to ebb and flow and be different. And saying that you're queer sometimes can just feel easier and more all-encompassing because you don't know what you are.
I don't really know what to label myself, which is why I said queer.
I think it's because they don't want to be defined. They don't want to be defined like bisexual, or maybe they feel everything. They feel like, oh, maybe today I feel like I'm attracted to men, but tomorrow I feel attracted to women. I'm kind of fluid. That's why I don't want to be labeled.
Or maybe it could also be because they think their sexuality is not their only identity.
You know, I grew up thinking I was straight. I was always like, oh, I don't know, maybe I could be bi, but I'm not sure. And because I think I had the wrong definition of what bi meant also. You know, I was young and I thought it meant you had to be like exactly 50-50. And then, you know, I went into this sort of journey of, okay, I'm pretty sure I do like women, but it's like now where do I stand with men?
Like everyone's continuously exploring, like they're not gonna just like, oh, I'm in my 20s now. I have to like permanently say this.
Exactly.
Like, 20, like in your 20s, like that's the time you should be staying lost, like in your 20s. So, midlife crisis pending.
Oh god, I'm 50 and I'm straight!
I'm 50, yeah.
I've been wrong the entire time.
Yeah.
So that's why I personally prefer to just identify as queer, because it is more of an umbrella term. And I know that some people change their labels, and that's obviously completely okay.
Just experiment as much as you can or want. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't have to say something and be like, this is 100% how I feel.
We need to normalize evolution of sexuality.
You need to normalize never figuring it out as well.
Yeah.
Die when you're 80 and be like, I still have no idea what I am. That's alright, like why do we have to know?
It shouldn't be generalized how labels are seen, but you shouldn't ask people to label themselves. I think that's the issue, right? And so I think labels are fine, but I think what's wrong with labels is when other people are forcing them out of you.
What do you think our LGBT ancestors would think of what the world is like now?
They'll be happy. I think they'll be quite happy with the progression we made. And they'll be jealous as well.
I think they'll be more jealous.
Yeah, they'll be more jealous. They'll be like,
For
oh my
sure.
god, back in our time, we
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
have that. What,
Imagine if we did,
centers,
yes.
Yeah, like none of these terms. Good for y'all. Good for y'all.
The reason that I think that things have changed sort of on the face of it, but not really, is because what you have is that, you know, we have things like marriage equality and whatever, and you have this thing where there's like this idea called political emancipation, which is when you're free within a political system. So not free, but you can operate as you're supposed to within a political system. But the political system itself is not something that is going to be freeing to you. So you have this thing called human emancipation, where, okay, queer people are no longer disenfranchised theoretically, in the sense of the law, queer people don't face disenfranchisement in the way that they did 30 years ago. But they don't have human emancipation. They're not really free as people, because no one is really free as people. You're trying to fit into this thing that was never designed to fit you in. Both, you'll never be free within that, but also your position of freedom is very volatile.
What would you like out of a center now, if one came about?
Clubs.
I want to read with the gays.
It's like the famous thing that 60% of queer venues in London have closed in the last 10 years. And I think it would also just be good. Everywhere that's queer now, or most of the spaces are there's nowhere to go that isn't full of drugs and alcohol or stuff like that. There's nowhere to meet people really that's consistently funded, and that's like a consistent space, and it's a protected space that you can go to during the daytime, and that you can go to and not have to get like drunk or put your life at risk or any of that
And
sort of
you
stuff.
can go to without it being like the aim is to meet and have sex or to like meet and like do anything romantic. Like I just want to go and meet other people like me sometimes without it being I'm going out.
Yeah.
I don't want to get fucked.
Cause I feel like like London, there's so many clubs and bars. Like there's a lot of gay clubs and bars, and I think you feel kind of pressure to meet people under the influence as well. So like, oh, I'm gonna be way more open about it. I'm gonna be way more like
living in London is so expensive.
Yeah.
Like having if you want to go out to a gay club or anything like that, it costs so much for a night out like that. Like I want to be able to go somewhere that's free, or like there's donations, or there's like you come in for £2, £5, whatever. Like that isn't I'm spending my entire month's paycheck just to go out and get drunk
for one night.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Like, it's also just like buying even places that are free entry. It's just like you're spending money on alcohol, or you're spending money on transport to get there because you're gonna be there late at night as well. So, and either if you can afford to get, either you're spending money because you have to get like a cab back if you can afford that. If you can't afford that, you have to take the bus.
Often, like on that kind of night out, I feel like I'm more visibly gay.
Yes, you'll wear certain things. You like want to really express all that shit.
Exactly, and then I get the bus home, and that's when I feel like, I'm not safe anymore. Like I've had a great time, and now I'm terrified.
Yeah. So it'd be nice to have like places where there's that. Also, just like I think that we talk about intersectionality, but there's not real like intersectionality like in practice in any of those kind of spaces. Like all the big like GAY, everything that's under that banner is very white, is very male, is very
it's very straight
So many
tourism.
straight
kind of straight tourism, very
it's
straight
like,
tourism.
A lot of people I know go there and they go for the novelty. It's like I've gone to a gay club.
Yeah, it's like I have to go like check it off my bucket list.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like it's a digestible thing for straight people to experience, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anything that's oriented towards like trans people or anything like that, it's always like there are like some kind of safe spaces where that kind of stuff happens, but it's always like one-off events. There's no place you can go for that, and if it is like something consistent, it's like raves and it's like stuff like
it's
that
loud
and those are fun. Like people, those are really like communal spaces. Like those are really like some of the raves that people have. Even if you're sober, are quite accommodating for that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a rave.
A lot of those kind of places as well aren't then accessible to like disabled gay people.
Yeah.
Because like they're in like bumfuck nowhere, like in the weirdest spaces possible.
What do you guys think queer joy is?
I think it's being trusted by other queer friends. Like I've got a couple of queer friends that aren't out to anyone, but they're comfortable telling me about their experiences being queer. And I think that level of trust, knowing that I'm someone that they come to and are happy to tell me about their experiences and know that I'm not gonna out them. Like, I think being trusted that makes me feel really good.
I think the first time I felt like that, for me, it would be like the first time I was seeing a girl. She wasn't out yet. At the time, because I was younger, obviously I was younger, I was super adamant of her telling her parents and telling her like about the situation we were in. But then I was also like, it's more about patience and like what Tish was saying, like being trusted, and that I think is where I felt super like accepted with her. And it's important, like moments like that, I think that's when you feel like the joy of like being able to explore that part of your life and sexuality. And I think that really taught me how to be patient with people as well, and just generally, like not even just about that part of her life.